Hello, welcome back to another Tabletop Talk. I have kind of an unusual unboxing or unbagging, if you will, today. Quite a few videos ago, I did a talk on getting in the mood, and we talked about accoutrements, which is a word I really like. I remember Sylvester on, when I was a kid, Sylvester on Looney Tunes used that word. And for some reason, I always liked that word. So anyway, talked about how getting different things and can kind of help get you in the mood. Most of you know I'm working on a 1947 Stratomatic replay where I'm replaying every game, which is a project that I have wanted to tackle for a long time and been playing quite a bit on the side. It is a big job, but I'm enjoying it very much so far. I think I've put 3 games on the channel, and obviously we'll put some more as I continue the project, for lack of a better word. But I've been doing some reading and different things about the season. Not a lot of YouTube videos about 1947. There's one on the World Series, which was the Yankees and the Dodgers, which the Yankees won. Of course, 47 was Jackie Robinson's entry into the league, and he was in that World Series, which was kind of cool. So anyway, we'll open it up and see what we got. You can see I got it from eBay. It wasn't very expensive, oddly enough. I didn't know what these things like this would be, but we'll open it up and see what we got. Little gunky. So get rid of that. Wow, they took care of these. They bagged these up very nice. So get that tape off so don't gunk things up. Wow, they really did a good job. So in the off chance that whoever sold this to me is seeing this, good job on the wrapping. So again, little things like this, at least for me, add a lot to the experience, especially on a project as in-depth as this 1947 will be. I can figure out how to get into it here. So you can see I have a Baseball Digest from 1947. So back in the 80s, I was a huge fan of the Baseball Digest, and I was pleasantly surprised that they went back to 1942. And then when I looked on eBay for these, they actually were not very expensive at all. And so Baseball Digest has an online where you can, I think it's like $35 a year. You have access to every issue they've created, and I've been reading some of that. But being an old school hands-on cards and dice kind of guy, I wanted a couple in hand. So as you can see here, this is May 1947, which is just amazes me. It's one of the main reasons I enjoy this hobby is for nostalgia. And I've always felt like time travel would be really cool if I could go back and watch some of these games and talk to some of these people. So when you get something like this, it's a little bit like a time machine. I mean, when this was first issued, I was a long way from even being thought about. Matter of fact, my mom was born this year, so in 47. So, it's just really cool to kind of step back in time. When you read these articles, this was for people who were living at that time. And so I find that kind of cool and amazing. So on the cover, we got Hank Greenberg, who was obviously a Tiger, but in 1947, he went to Pittsburgh. I don't know how he got there, whether he was traded or free agent. Of course, free agency wasn't then what it is now, but when they were cut, they could go sign for who they wanted. Usually at the end of their careers most of the time. But at any rate, I've been playing, obviously I'm playing every team, so I've had some Pirate games, and Ralph Kiner and him have quite a duo. Obviously, the pitching stinks. Pittsburgh wasn't that great, but I could imagine the excitement of Pittsburgh fans when they got Hank Greenberg, and he had a decent year. Kiner had an amazing year. But anyway, you can see that. So, in this issue, you can't kill the umpire. So I intentionally didn't read this one online because, I knew it was coming, but was reading one from February of this year, and it was really interesting. They were talking about how that Aaron, the catcher for the Yankees, was surpassing Joe DiMaggio in popularity, which is just amazing because now, we don't hardly even know who Aaron is. Not Hank Aaron, of course, but he was a catcher for the Yankees for a couple years. Had a couple decent years, but obviously DiMaggio is stuff of legend. Anyway, this is really cool. You can see the 1946 finishing stats, the rosters. So, and some great stories. Baseball Digest has always had some really good stories. So, it's got things about that are current. It goes back in history, of course, from there. I was reading another article about is Bob Feller washed up, which he wasn't. But it's just interesting, because you kind of see those kind of things today. So anyway, I'm looking forward to doing some reading on this and helping me immerse myself in the 1947 season. And so the other one is similar. And like I said, whoever put these together did an amazing job to protect them. So, and again, for 1947, let's see, that was 75 years ago. So that's in really good shape. So it's got a tape on the spine, but that's no big deal. And again, they weren't very expensive at all. So thankfully, they're not collector's items because I don't want it to collect. I want it to read and kind of help relive that season a little bit. Because again, the options aren't great. I know the SABR has got a book on the 47 Yankees and a book on the 47 Dodgers, which I have the 47 Yankee one. Those are a little bit more expensive. They're like $20 a piece. So this one is from September 1947, and you got Ewell Blackwell on the cover, who has already pitched a shutout against the Cardinals in my replay. And so this is a little later in the year. But again, just kind of reliving. Okay, it's interesting. Kiner's threat to Ruth's mark. So in September, again, Kiner ended up hitting 51 that year, as did Johnny Mize, it was Mize, the Giant first baseman, at 51 as well. So anyway, with these not being terribly expensive, I might get me a couple more. Blackwell, he's equal to anyone, and he had a very good year. I was also reading an interesting article about Grady Hatton, who was signed in 46 at $25,000, which at the time was the highest bonus baby in National League history. And interestingly enough, the Dodgers offered him $30,000, and he decided to go with the 25 with the Reds because I think he thought he would get more playing time with them. But anyway, so stuff like that. There's Carl Furillo of the Dodgers. So anyway, things like this are just really, really cool for me anyway. I've acknowledged readily that I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff and really enjoy these kind of things. So again, I got the online subscription, but I wanted to have some in hand, and so I can read these and get a little bit more familiar with the season I'm replaying. And so, it's a lot of times when people get a new season or a new game, they get seasons and games of players they're familiar with, because it makes it more enjoyable. When you start a season or a new game with players that you don't know, you don't connect as well. And so, trying to read about these people, these guys, their lives, their histories, like knowing Grady Hatton, was signed in 46, never played a day in the minors, that kind of makes him more real when he's on the tabletop. And which for me adds to the experience substantially. So, having these kinds of things, and again, just kind of living in that time. Again, I mean, when this was written, it was 1947, and so you can kind of, a little bit like a time machine. And so stuff like this I enjoy very much, and they definitely help me to get in to the mood. So, anyway, wanted to share that. Again, a little unusual boxing or unbagging this time. A lot of great comments on the In the Mood video, but if anybody missed that or, wants to make some comments about things that help them get in the mood, things like this, I'd be very interested in hearing it. I love hearing what you guys are doing. Like, for example, a lot of guys have commented about they've got the 1947 set and what they're trying to do with it, or, their projects and stuff like that. I enjoy reading about very much. So feel free to add any comments. I enjoy them a lot. And so anyway, I appreciate it very much, and I will see you next time.